Hi, I'm Willie. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for being here, and I appreciate each and every one of you. And what we're going to talk about tonight is the Netgear Nighthawk S8000. Now, when you hear Netgear and you hear Nighthawk, you think about those crazy loud access points that people, they go buy them and they just take them home and they plug them in. And those things are loud as hell, very noisy. You can always tell when somebody's got a Nighthawk in there because it drowns out everybody else's network. They use, people say they make good gear. I know people that have those Nighthawk routers. That's not what this is. This is an actual Ethernet switch. It is a gaming and streaming switch, and it's a very interesting product. It's got an interface. You can configure it. It is a managed switch. It has a cool touch premium zinc alloy with soft touch base. It has pre-configured one-touch optimized settings. It has a responsive or a mobile optimized web interface, or they're calling it a GUI. People are going to get pissed off because GUIs are for operating systems. WUI is what we're talking about. It's a graphical user interface, right? It does port rate limiting. It's got it can have 4,000 MAC addresses in its MAC address database. It can do link aggregation, 2 lags with up to 4 members each. It can do priority queues, and you can have 3 priority queues. It can have 128 multicast groups, and you can turn the LEDs on the ports on and off. Now, on the back of this, it has a picture. It's got a picture of all the things here, and you can see the switch down there. We're going to take this out, but the back, what it says is it's low latency, lag-free gaming, over 90% lower latency for the fastest. Now, obviously, how they are doing this is with some sort of quality of service, whether it's actual physical port-based quality of service or whatever. That's how they're going to be doing that. It says optimized settings reduce buffering and deliver seamless 4K UHD streaming. And it says up to 4 times faster than a single gigabit connection, so that's where they are talking about the lags. Now, Netgear did not send this to me. I would like to think, I'm not going to use the name of the subscriber that sent this, but a subscriber sent this for a very specific reason. We want to know the features that are built into this. Can we make another manufacturer's switch work in a similar fashion? So what we're going to do is we're going to unbox this. We're going to take it over to the computer. We're going to plug it in. We're going to go through the interface. We're going to look, and we are specifically looking at the port priority, where one port can have a higher priority than another. We're going to look at those features, and then we'll talk about other switches. In another video, we'll compare this to that switch specifically in the next video. This one, I want to get this out of the box, get it set up, do some initial testing, and yeah, you can make up your mind. I love switches, especially managed switches. So the box, you saw, the box, fancy packaging for all this stuff, right? I'll have to figure out what the MSRP is on this. Would you buy this? Would you buy this? I don't know if you would. All right, so the switch, this thing weighs 4 pounds. This thing weighs 4 pounds. Look at this thing. It's like an axe head. It's thin, real thin at the top. Flip it around. You got those ports on the back. Got your 8 ports, 8 gigabit ports. You've got a switch over here that shuts the LEDs off. Got our power brick over here. You could mount this to the wall. I shouldn't say you can't mount this to the wall. You could most definitely mount this to the wall, but it'd look a little angry with screws protruding through the front. That's a joke. I know people use plumber's strap or some other thing, maybe industrial Velcro, but this thing literally weighs 4 pounds, and it's probably this zinc alloy cool touch. So there's the bottom. You just have feet on the bottom. There's no no place for mounting, and then my hand's in the way, but there's also a reset switch on the bottom. And default access on this is 192.168.0.239, and the password's password. Very secure, Netgear. Very secure. There's the front of it again if you want to see it. Comes with, it's got some plastic on it. I'm gonna pull that off. Pull this, such a satisfying sound. All right, what else is in the box? Let's take a look here. Some propaganda, I'm sure, in here. Installation of your Nighthawk S8000 gaming and streaming advanced 8-port gigabit Ethernet switch. That is a mouthful. I'm assuming maybe if we plug this in, it'll get a DHCP address. Probably is what I'm reading here. So there's all kinds of stuff, but how often do we RTFM? Actually, I RTFM a lot because I take the time to RTFM and experiment. The only other thing in the box, the power adapter, and that's going to be kind of important. It's a let's see. It is a 12 volt 1 amp, made in China. So we're gonna have to have that. Other than that, man, this packaging, you see the holographic, I mean, that's pretty cool, right? But I mean, how much more could they have saved on this switch? I don't know. Sometimes the glitz and glam probably sells stuff, you know, I would imagine. But I keep the box for everything, so it's a thing that I do. And so even though I threw that part, I got to pick it up because this switch will, if I ever decide to get rid of it, I'll have the original packaging. So, you know, I'll show you this one more quick time. Got that there, a little wedge. My wife gets mad, bam, it's over. Willie's toast. Remember, mysteriously man bludgeoned to death with router switch. Probably me. All right, so let's head on over to the computer and we'll set this up, take a look at the interface and see if we can get some of that queuing set up. Let's get on it. All right, welcome to the computer. And real quick, I did plug the switch in. Here it is. Beautiful blue LEDs. Let's see if that switch works. I'm going to push the switch here to turn the LEDs off. Oh, blackout, good night. That's pretty cool, but now, how do I know that the damn thing's working right? Turn it back on, LEDs come back on, flickering. And then, of course, you've got this V-shaped notch in the front that shows us that we got power. So even when I hit this and the LEDs are off, it's still emitting blue light. So that's a pretty good idea that it's on, but with some of the other switch manufacturers we've seen where we've had issues with port lights not coming on, could get confusing. But yeah, so here we are. We're in the edge router that we're plugged into. We're in our DHCP pool, so we're going to take a look at our leases. And that's my computer. There's a Synology router, and there's a .41. So I'm hoping the .41 is that, so we're going to pull that up real quick. All right, all right, all right. Here we are. 192.168, 3.41. Nighthawk S8000. If logging in for the first time, log in with your switch's default password, which is found on the label on the bottom of your switch. It's a little misleading because it's just password. Unless they're all different. I doubt it. They're probably all password. Alright, here we go. Let's log in. Alright, so what do we got? No, I don't want to save that. Try to do a pop-up. That makes me a little nervous. All right, so anyway, DHCP is on. This is a pretty nice little interface. Okay, all right, so check this out. So over here, under port status, they've got some pre-selected things. So it looks like number 8 is the uplink, and it's available. Number 1 is for gaming, and number 2 is for media streaming. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take number 1, which I have as the uplink, I'm going to move it to 8. Oh, if I'd have looked a little closer at the switch back here. Number 8, label it uplink. I was too worried about shutting the LEDs on and off. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take number 2, which is my PC. I'm going to move it over to number 1. So now we have, here in a second when the web interface refreshes, now you can see that the gaming port is up and the uplink is up. That's awesome. Okay, so just going from, sorry about that, just going from left to right, we see the switch here. It tells us we've got 2 ports connected. Fantastic. All right, we can expand the system info here. Firmware versions, version 1.0.0.1, switch name, Nighthawk S8000, so I can change this to be WH-Netgear 8. And I can hit apply, and it changes the name. Beautiful. It's got my serial number. Check for firmware on. So when I click this, it's probably going to open netgear.com, but it's not going to take us to the firmware. So let's see. We'll probably go to support. Oh my gosh. Okay, stayed zoomed in. That's perfect. Let's see. Enter your model. This is a Nighthawk S8000. Beautiful. Selected that. All right, let's see. Let's go to downloads. Dippity. Looks like, oh, check this out. So they have a, Netgear does have a Netgear switch discovery tool, so that's fantastic. We didn't have to use it, but you should know it is available to you. That's awesome. I'm actually really excited about this switch. But look at this. So our switch came in the box of 1.0.0.1, and they are on 1.7.0.6, so we are kind of far behind. We'll go ahead and we'll download that, and we'll look at the release notes. I don't know if I have to unzip it. I don't know, you know. Looks like there's a lot of things here. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. Why did it give me the GS808E? Is that what this is? I don't think that's what this is. I don't think it is. Anyway, I'll jack with that later. And I'll upgrade it if possible before the next video. Port LEDs, so you can hit the button, or you can turn them off here, turn them on. That's beautiful. IP address. If I turn this off, oh yeah. So if I just move this slider, then I can just set a static IP. That's awesome. I like that. So let's take a look at these ports. So uplink, what happens if I expand this? So it tells me the speed. It says in port limit. Okay, so in and out port. So our limit's in and out. No limit. Flow controls off. Can I edit this? Yeah. And I can... Oh, yeah. That is impressive. That is impressive. For we'll look and see how much this switch is. I don't think it's that expensive. Okay, so check this out. So on the gaming port, what we're going to do is we're going to expand this. And right now, it's just everything is set at auto, gigabit, and you have to gigabit to negotiate gigabit. Everything has to be set on auto. But right now, there's no port in or port out limit. So I'm going to edit this, and I'm going to do an in limit, and I'm going to do an in limit of 4 megabits, and I'm going to apply that. So we're gonna, please wait. Okay, so it's up, and I got a download limit of 4 megabits. Quick, is we are going to go over to fast.com, and we're going to run a speed test. All right, so I'm over at fast.com, and I'm getting quite a bit more than 4 megabits. which is interesting. I'm getting like 310. It's definitely not what I expected to happen, right? And this thing is just going nuts. So let's edit this again, and let's do an out, and we'll set it at 4 megabits. It's going to do its thing here. So we'll see what happens. We're applying changes. All right, let's rerun this test. Okay, so it looks like I have my in and out mix. Okay, so it looks like yeah, that I had the in and out switched on the port, because you can see that we're right at that 4 meg, which is nice. It works really well when you figure the direction out. Now, I did look up the switch, and this switch is going for about 80 bucks. I gotta say that I think that is a great deal for what I'm seeing so far. All right, so what else do we have here? So we've got some preset modes. If we take a look at this, okay, so preset, gaming preset optimizes one port for a gaming device and port 8 for the uplink. Media streaming preset optimizes port 2 for a media device and port 8 for the uplink. Standard preset, all ports have equal prioritization. Okay, let's see. Configuration file, we can restore, we can back up. That's really nice. This is an $80 switch, by the way. IGMP snooping. Turn on to optimize performance of multicast streaming or mirroring traffic. We can block unknown multicast address, validate our IGMP version 3 headers. IGMP snooping static router port. If your network does not include a device that sends IGMP queries, the switch cannot discover the router port dynamically. In this situation, select one port on the switch as a dedicated static router port for IGMP snooping. Cool, so you can specify that. Link aggregation, we can create 2 lags with up to 4 ports each. How easy is that? Slide it, select it. That's phenomenal. Port LEDs, once again, on or off. Product registration, firmware upgrade, factory default, and change password. Since this is the lab, I'm just going to leave the password. If you're deploying this, do not leave your password. All right, we'll go back home. Prioritization, here we go. Oh, boom, quality of service, and it's standard 802.1 P, it looks like. Recognizes DSCP marking. Or we can do port-based. Warning, changing the QS mode to port-based will erase all of your settings. Okay, hold on a second. So I just want to look at what our settings are set to. So we've just got the 4 meg in and out on port 1, which is what we're plugged into. But we could go to port-based. Yeah, continue. So now you can see that my port here just has low priority. So now it looks like we're doing low, low, low. I can edit this. I can give the port, okay, so it's low, high, medium, right? So that's fantastic. So right now I have low, port 2 has low, the uplink has low. That is outstanding that you can just do, you know, the high, low, medium. I prefer the rate limits. So we'll switch this back over here. Yep, that's fine. And we have broadcast filtering. Prevent massive transmission of broadcast packets forwarded to every... Yeah, so it looks like it can filter out, you know, when you're flooding, when the switch is flooding those frames, it can actually filter those out. And that can be very useful sometimes if you don't have anything that needs to be receiving tons of broadcast traffic. You can just filter that out. All right, we've got diagnostics. Look at this, got a cable test. Select one or more cables to test if working and to determine the fault distance. So let's do number 8, which is the uplink, and see what happens. Sending a signal to the cables, and it is definitely doing something. That LED is blinking and doing a little dance. And it just shows that our cable is okay, that there is no fault. And I would expect there to not be a fault. I don't know if I could probably create a fault, but this may work as well as the cable test on other ones. All right, we've got advanced settings. So under advanced settings, we've got that the presets. So we were actually looking at the advanced settings already. And let's see, we can change the ports here. What do we have here? We got reboot, support, power saving, or log out. Well, I have to say that for an $80 Switch, I am impressed. Let's go in here and let's change our gaming port, and we'll just to make sure that this works. Let's go to 32 meg, and we'll just do it symmetrical. We're nice like that. And this is the first time I've ever touched this Switch, by the way, and I'm actually really liking it. So I think that this is going to it's going to live in the stable here for sure. So let's go back out the fast. Let's redo our test. Remember, I set that at 32 megs on that port. So what's happening is the port is actually negotiated at gigabit. The computer has negotiated to that port at gigabit, but the Switch itself is actually doing that throttling, which is fantastic. So look, if I expand this, you can see it's linked at a gigabit full duplex, but we have it limited at 32 meg. And just to show you one more time, let's do 128 meg. Now I have gigabit internet, so we could even go up and do the 512. We're going to cap it at 128, so we're going to let this save, and we're going to refresh this. And now you can see that we're bumping up right around that 128. We're at 120, between 120 and 130. So this thing is absolutely doing its job. And did you see how easy it was to do that? So that is fantastic. We're going to look at another Switch in the next video. We're going to have them side by side. And we're going to see if we can make the other Switch do things like this easy. I don't know if it's possible, but that will be the next video on this Netgear. I'm impressed with this thing already, and I'm going to just tell you that we're going to put this up against an Edge Switch. And now we're talking for like home use, right? This is not enterprise use. So the layer 3 stuff and some of the other advanced things that the Edge Switch is going to have, we don't need it in a home environment. But if you want to do some simple prioritization and stuff like this, Switch is providing a ton of features for $80. I wasn't sure about it going into this, but I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put the Amazon link, my Amazon affiliate link to this Switch down below. So if you want to buy one based on just what you've seen here, you can do that. And I got to tell you that I am actually impressed with this Switch. So we'll see in the next video how the other Switch handles the same thing, but I've not run across a Switch that I've had here that made it so easy. So a lot of times what you'll see that we have to do is we have to do things, you know, you have to play tricks with the actual port, you know, knock it down to 100 meg or knock it down to a 10 meg port. But with this, the computer can stay negotiated at 100 meg full duplex, and we can literally change that traffic. One more time before we go, just so you know I'm not messing with you. Let's set it to 256, and I'll apply this, and so it's going to take it from 128 to 256. We'll run that fast.com real quick again, and it doesn't take too long. I think this thing is actually it's not slow, you know. I mean, look at this, and there we go. We're almost up hitting that 256. The Switch is absolutely doing its job. Not sure why we are bumping up into the 300s there. So this is the first misstep we've seen on this Switch. Up to 310, 340. So we're at least not getting the gigabit. So let's take a look at that port one more time. So, hey, yo, Netgear, we may have found an issue, maybe not. Let's bump this back down to 128 and save it and see what our result is. Yeah, I can't wait to actually do head-to-head on this in the next video and see because we're looking at a very specific set of features here. You know, we're looking specifically for this kind of throttling and this kind of prioritization. I've not had a switch that's been this easy yet to be able to do this. All right, so let's refresh this. Yeah, and you can see, so something happened to that 256 meg level. The 128's working just fine. Not 100% sure what happened. Maybe there's a firmware update needed. Maybe it's something with my browser. I don't know. But I think for 80 bucks, if you are looking to do prioritization, even if you know, you're not going to use all 8 ports, let's say that you only need 4 ports. Well, it's an 8-port switch. There's a switch that's one size bigger than this, and you can actually, it's got color changing LEDs, and you can control the LEDs. It's quite a bit more expensive than this one, but I gotta tell you, before we even get to the second video, I'm digging this switch. I really like it. I like the feature set. I like how easy it is to use. I like that it works as advertised. I will put the Amazon affiliate link down there. I will put my my stamp of approval on this thing so far. So that's it for this video. If you like the video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe. Please follow me on Twitter and Instagram. If you need IT consulting, best practice deployment of voice over IP, wired or wireless networking, and network or information security and assurance, go over to williehowe.com, fill out that contact form, and someone will be with you as soon as possible. If we can't help you, we'll get you to a vendor who can. That is our promise to you. If you want to talk to us on Discord, the link is down below. Charlie's our admin. He does a fantastic job. The link to my Patreon channel is down below. The link to my Amazon affiliate store is down below, and there are also direct links to this switch. Once again, I appreciate each and every one of you, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.